When I was 16, my parents had found out that I was doing drugs, and so I came here as a 16-year-old into the adolescent unit. At that age, you don't know, you're still figuring yourself out. You don't even know yourself still. You think you do, but you don't. I didn't get ready to get recovered until I was 29, so yes.
I hit bottom. I had been in trouble, been to jail, and I knew that it was time for me to take my recovery serious.
I was doing drugs, obviously, and I was sold drugs. And at the end of 15 years of doing drugs, I had a boyfriend that had committed murder, and I was just kind of at my wit's ends. And one of the girls that I sold to was like, hey, yeah, there's this place called Nexus where you can take your children with you. Because I had a 2-year-old, and I'd already been separated from her enough. And so I wanted to go to rehab, and I wanted to get help. I knew that I couldn't do it on my own, but I wasn't willing to leave her.
My drug use started at the age, maybe 13. There was not a drug out there that I hadn't used. When I first knew something was wrong was when, and I feel ashamed saying this, is when I hit my son, and I hit him hard. And it was because I was getting high and he was interrupting my flow. And I hit him and he screamed, and I couldn't get the scream out of my head. When I finished that drug, I wanted more. In order to get more, there were things that I had to do to get more. That meant compromising all morals and values, doing things with men that I really didn't want to do. But this time something changed, and I wasn't willing to do it that night. That night, I looked at my son and I said, I can't do it. And so I made a decision not to go to treatment unless I could take him with me. And that's when we found out about Nexus.
I was using and found out I was pregnant, and I knew I needed to change something. And so I went to Parkland, because they're the only people that will detox pregnant women. And my counselor there is the one that told me about Nexus. She set everything up with the admissions department here, and they had a bed for me. And actually Nexus sent transportation to pick me up from Parkland. And so I had somebody to take me from there to here, which is good, because looking back, I can't promise I would have come.
It was actually in here, in the rooms of Nexus, listening to my counselor, that I realized I didn't really know. I knew that I did drugs, but I didn't really think of myself as an addict, you know. I knew that I needed help, and I knew I couldn't do it myself.
I wasn't even willing to admit that I had a problem, because I was able to maintain a job, I had an apartment. I had no idea that drugs and alcohol were the root. They were the root of what was causing a lot of depression, how I was reliving my own abuse, and how I was passing that on to my son.
I was dead inside when I got here. I was miserable. I had lost everything. I was sick. I was spiritually sick. I was physically sick. I had nothing. I was gonna be on the streets again if I didn't get here. I was tired of hating myself. I was tired of looking in the mirror and feeling like, who is this person? I don't like you. You know, what have you become? I know you're better than this.
I think my biggest fear was probably, am I gonna fit in? Am I going to like people, or people are gonna like me? I was just scared and overwhelmingly nervous. Really kind of questioning whether I wanted to be here or not. I knew that I needed to change, and I wanted to change for my baby, but it was just scary.
I was scared. I was still on the fence. You know, am I ready for this? Am I not?
Of course, when I first got here, I didn't know what was going on. I had just used, and I remember going into the intake office, and they were just like, hey, when's the last time you used? I'm like, 10 minutes ago, you know. Just trying to be as honest as I could, you know. Part of me wanted to lie, and then part of me was like, if you really want help, then just tell them everything.
I wanted to leave so bad. I didn't even want to give them my information, my name, and I thought, this is the worst decision I've ever made. But when I looked down at my son, And I looked at the pictures on the wall and the promises that I had read, the pamphlets. I wanted what they had. I wanted to live a different life. And I believe I wanted a different life more than I wanted to leave. So I thought I'd stay.
When I came here to Nexus, I was afraid, I was a little scared, but then I was still unsure about myself, about whether or not if I wanted to get clean or not. But I knew I needed to start somewhere. I knew I needed some help.
I remember walking down to the dorm, and it was scary, but all the girls were really welcoming, and the staff was really welcoming, so that helped.
It took me a while to open up. Was very quiet for the first few months and just sit here and listen. It was actually in this room. Would sit here and just listen to the girls and the testimonies going around and just thinking, I thought I had it bad. You know, was very overwhelmed by the stories that I heard.
It's the camaraderie of the women that really make it amazing. You can talk to these women. They're not going to judge you. You can tell them anything and they're going to be there for you.
I had a roommate and she was really helpful and answered a lot of my questions, and the staff was really helpful.
There was so much support and encouragement, you know what I'm saying, that gave me a sense of, I felt safe, and it gave me hope.
And so I think when I started to get sober and started to work the steps and work in recovery, I started to see things change.
I never thought that it would change my course of life, but it has.
For the first time, something clicked in me, you know, that, okay, I do have a problem. It's not, if I just fix this person or this situation or whatever, then I'll be better. It was me.
When you feel safe somewhere and you can trust somebody with your stuff that you share with them, you know what I'm saying? And they don't take it and use it against you, they use it to help you. That right there made a difference in my life.
They listen and they care. They're just very loving and understanding.
So I was in the Pregnant and Parenting Women with Children dorm, and it's kind of like going to work. That's how it's set up, that you take your kids to school, and you get ready in the morning, and then you go to work or your groups.
They have schooling, they have daycare, they have amazing counselors. They were there with a place to live. I mean, anything, any direction I needed to go, they were there to meet the needs and just help me get through that next step.
There's relapse prevention, there's learning about drugs and alcohol, there's relationship groups, domestic violence, group counseling. You meet with your counselor one-on-one every week. So there's a variety, and I liked that too.
I was enrolled in parenting classes, alcohol and drug education. Just bonding is what I needed. I didn't realize the damage I had done to my son.
Nexus helped me work on relationships with my family, relationships with myself. Nexus really introduced me to 12-step groups, AA and NA. I started to trust that whole process rather than trying to do it on my own. Nexus and all the counselors and then the groups and just the whole program helped me realize that I was the problem and I needed to change what I was doing. My life before Nexus was, I was depressed. I didn't really want to be alive, but yet I didn't want to die, so it was kind of this in-between, which is an awful place to be.
I think I always say this in my testimony, but it's talking about God giving me my life back. And He didn't give me my life back. He gave me a life to live. I didn't have a life before. It was full of drugs and violence and sadness.
I think if I hadn't came to Nexus, I probably wouldn't be here.
Nexus saved my life. I was on a pretty hopeless path, and if it weren't for learning about Nexus and coming here, I really don't know where I would be now.
I would either be in jail, dead, in a mental institution because I was losing my mind.
I honestly don't know what would have happened. I know I was tired. Probably would have eventually gotten a CPS case and lost my child.
You know, addiction is real. It will kill you. It's fatal. It's worth doing whatever you can because you're worth change for your own life and yourself.
Nexus gave me hope. It gave me some stability. I got coping skills, principles, and I learned how to live a whole new way of life because of Nexus.
After Nexus and after being clean for a while, I have 2 beautiful kids. One's 8, one's 6. I love being a mom. I never thought I'd be able to say that, but I do. And I cherish the moments with them.
It is because of Nexus that I'm the woman that I am today. The cycle of addiction has stopped in my family. My family meaning my son and I. He's 27 years old, never used drugs. And I love my life. I love the person I am today.
You know, I'm grateful for my life now. I'm grateful for my recovery. I'm happy I don't have to wake up in that place that I used to because I would have died. I would have died. So I'm grateful to be alive today.
I'm glad that you are here. You made a wonderful decision coming here. And this can be the first day of the rest of your life if you let yourself go through the process. It's not always easy, but it's worth it. It's worth your life. Your life is definitely worth it.
Hang on. Just hang on, relax, you know, go enjoy some food in there. They've got amazing food, they'll feed you. Try to not worry about the outside, just to completely focus and take advantage of all the information that is given here. Your kids will be taken care of, you will be taken care of. Anything on the outside can wait.
When I came to Nexus, if they would have asked me for $1 to come in and get some help, I didn't have it. And today, there is not enough money that I can pay them for the life that I have today.
As long as you are working on you and your recovery and your life, this place is always going to be there for you. And I feel like it's a lifelong journey with Nexus. It's not just when you're here, it continues.
Ladies, give yourself a break. Give yourself the opportunity that you deserve to get clean and sober and live a good life.